Oh, welcome to the Gov Shack. So happy to have you with me this evening, right at 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And I am doing yet another Gov Shack, and on what is almost always the same thing every time, which is stuff that's happening in New York that sadly the Democratic Socialists are coming up with answers, bad ones, but answers, and the Republicans in my state just yelling communism again and again and again. I keep seeing it when I actually have answers, and I want to talk about why it's working, what's happening, why it shouldn't make sense, and how we can actually fix some of this stuff. And look, this will work in your city or your state too. I know it's New York State, New York City centered, but it's crazy stuff that you're going to hear, and you should understand why it seems to make sense to them, and also why it doesn't actually work. Most people just know this feels wrong, or the reverse, this feels right, and it's neither of them. Remember, though, the way to help out is, of course, to click that button. You know what that is? Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Do it now so that people can assist. People can come on in and watch. You can click that. You can share it if you want to. Put it into a Facebook page or something like that. If you can, please do that. It does matter. Every little bit does count. And, of course, if you can donate, LarrySharpe.com/donate. Always a good thing to do here as we still try our damnness. We are in the last weeks of this, trying to get on this ballot. We have more hope yet again. Hopefully this weekend we'll have some really good news and we can move this thing forward. We keep trying. I have not surrendered yet. I'm still fighting because, sadly, no one else is. That's the sad part. Now, there are three aspects I want to bring up here. Three ways in which New York City is failing. However, Mamdani has come up with answers. He has. I want to give credit where credit is due. When it comes to addressing the issues, there is no doubt Mamdani has done that. This is true. I wish more people would do it. Now, his answers, well, they always seem to be the same answer, which is, you know what? Something isn't working, more government control. That is always his answer. Something isn't working, more government control. Now, for those of you who are more libertarian, you might be like, Larry, that sounds stupid. Yeah, because it doesn't work. True. But if you're the average New Yorker who is struggling and somebody's got to do something, and here comes Mamdani with, oh, I got you. Just give me more power. I'll take care of it. They go, all right. That's what happens again and again. Now, I've been telling you, though, that right now, it's still going to be okay. He's still popular. It will take years before they watch the failures. Now, some of that's starting now. I'm going to show you some of that now, right? Some of it is happening now, but most of it we won't see for a couple of hours. Most of we won't see for a couple of hours. I mean, a couple of years. Sorry, a couple of years. Most we won't see, but some of it we will. This is one of the things to talk about, which was childcare and pre-K. So for those of you who don't know, in New York State, we are mandated by our Constitution because we have done the brilliant thing by making education a right here in New York State. So we must pay for grades 1 through 12. That's required in New York State. Everything else is a separate line or separate mandate, whatever the case may be. So pre-K has to be a separate law or separate mandate or budget item. And also 3K, also same thing, has to be that type of special issue. So here, let me give you what's happening right now because he said, remember, we're going to have 3K, which is pre-K. That's what he told us. So what's happening here now?
City students head back to school in just 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But some
we're ready to go.
Childcare providers say they're still waiting on critical funding from the city, money they need right now to open their.
What? So the money isn't coming? There was bureaucracy. Something failed. What? The government's running and it still doesn't work?
Classrooms on time. Heather Fordham spoke with one daycare owner about their concerns and shares what the mayor says the city's doing about it.
Instead of organizing school supplies and putting the finishing touches up on their classrooms, some childcare providers in New York City say they may not be able to open their doors on September 10th.
Now, here's the problem with this. You might go, wait a minute, Larry. I thought that if it's 3K, as they call it, 3K for 3-year-old, 3K or pre-K, I thought that must mean that the government is actually, no, government's just writing checks. Government's making sure you go through the bureaucracy. What the government did is the government didn't build out pre-K. They didn't build out schools. What the government did was tell people, we will pay you. Government will just write you a check. Just go through our bureaucracy and then we'll give you money, because that's how it works. Government will just give you money. I wish I was joking. I'm not. Well, these people said, well, great. I'll go through the program. I'll go through your bureaucracy and then we'll give you money. I love that. So yeah. Hold on. Someone is assaulting me. Hold on. I have to take my assault. Just talk truth. I don't think that's true. Why are you still pretending to be fighting for ballot access? You got like 600 signatures and need 45,000. You're deceiving libertarians who won't do research. Number one, I'm not deceiving libertarians. I am still fighting ballot access. And I told people it's going through a lawsuit. You're right. We cannot raise enough money. That is one of the things I'm doing. Raise money. So Jess, instead of talking truth, right now you're talking trash, which is fine. I don't mind. I'll put it up front. I always do. If you want to do something, you could help out by one of two ways. One of three. One, you could have just run or found someone else to run for governor of New York to get ballot access. You didn't do that. Or two, you can write a big check, or you could have written a big check so I could have gotten the 45,000. You didn't do that either. Or you could find me someone to write a big check, which I am still working on now. Yes, I am. And to find an attorney. You could find me an attorney who would take this to the federal, which I'm getting right now, and I'm going to do so. You could do that too. You could do any of those. You could, or you can come online and talk trash. But I guess it is just talk trash. So whatever you feel, I'm happy. You do as you feel required. You do as you feel required. So do as you would like, whatever you would like. So feel free to donate if you want to. You can go ahead and do that. Yes. And his response is, you weren't even close. No one else even tried. Why? Because it's impossible. Hence, the ballot access laws are crooked, because it's impossible. So, Jesse, if you want to come out, do what you want. Or, Jesse, if you want to, you can just vote for the Democrat Republican and get exactly the same thing. Whichever you prefer. You'll get what I'm talking about right now if you want to. So, thank you for the attack. It didn't work, but I don't mind. I love the back and forth. Please stay and listen. You may enjoy this.
They wait for critical funding tied to their contracts with the city.
They have to have contracts with the city. So instead of people just saying, hey, right? Instead of just saying, hey, look, I would like to just have a daycare and people could just pay and you could just stop busting my balls and I could just have a daycare. They went, no, you can't. What's going to happen is I'm going to make a contract with the city or the state, and then they'll pay me. And then the city just went, just kidding.
The other option is that when parents come on September 10th, not to open the doors and direct them to Gracie Mansion.
Now listen to this. He says, look, here's my option. My option is when parents come to the door, and I'll just say, go to Gracie Mansion. What if you're a parent who you believed? What if you believe Mamdani? And many people believe him. Clearly, they voted for him. Many believe him. And you believe that Mamdani was going to do this. Now you show up to the pre-K, 3K, with your kid ready to go off to work or whatever the case may be for your life, to live your life and pay your bills. And Mr. Katz, goes, I don't got any cash. Have a nice day. What are you going to do? Take your kid to work. What are you going to do? This is where government fails again and again and again. So, okay, you might go, well, Larry, it's a dumb idea, but it's a democratic idea. I got it. Well, what are the Republicans going to do? Nothing. They have no plan. Their plan is this is scam, is communism. Yes, but they can't do anything. What I tell you all the time, when you have no plan and a bad plan, people take the bad plan. That's the issue. There we go. So anyway, all righty. Keep going here.
Nick Katz runs Little Scholars, serving roughly 370 children in pre-K and 3K across the city. He says DOE providers typically receive 35% of their funding in August to prepare.
So if you're a DOE provider, they give you about a third of your money up front, and then you keep going.
for the school year. But as of August 26th, he's received nothing.
Obviously do not have that money in reserve, nor do I have any kind of access to any kind of credit cards or bank loans that can cover $600,000.
The department
He needs $600K. So that's about a third. So the government's going to write him a check for $1.8 million. That's one daycare. The answer is always write a check. The answer is always more money. That's it.
Department of Education says the delays are deeply concerning, but not new, and is working to overhaul their system to ensure.
See, they're working to overhaul the system, the New York DOE. Again, Mamdani was elected last November. This is the problem that I keep having here. I understand if you want a new plan. I'm not mad at you for a new plan. I like the idea of a new plan. New plans are nice, but you got elected in November. You didn't have an answer for 11 months later? The Department of Education didn't have an answer for this? Mamdani didn't have an answer for it? No one had an answer for it. No one had an answer for it. Nothing.
Future payments and contracts are on time for more than 1,000 providers who rely on them.
This is something that is a top priority for our New York City public school system, is to put.
Now, it's a top priority and it failed. This is my point constantly. Now, to be very forward, as you hear me say all the time, the rhetoric is great. Mamdani is charismatic. His rhetoric is wonderful. He talks and talks and talks. That's wonderful, right? That's wonderful. He does a good job of it, but now you have to deliver. That's the issue. Lil J says, so you're saying it'll be harder yes, it will be harder. Here's why it will be harder, Lil J. Lil J, if you were going to open up a daycare and you didn't think you were going to have any government help, you would find a way to open your daycare on your own, or you would not open your daycare. So no one would come to you, right? Because you were not getting government help. Makes sense. But now I tell you, don't worry, Lil J, I got you. I'm write you a check for $1.8 million this year, $600K up front, and then 2 more shots, $600K, you'll be fine. Well, now you act accordingly. You create contracts, plans, teachers, all those things. What happens when your teachers show up and you can't pay them? They're going to sue you. And because of New York State employee laws, you're going to have to pay. Even though the city didn't pay you, you're going to have to pay. Yes, you're going to have to pay. But they don't talk about that. So, yeah. Guys, some of you are yelling at Jesse. Jesse, don't yell. Don't. It's okay, Jesse. You don't have to. I'm happy you're here. You can stay. I know you think the GOP is the answer. Many people do. I did try to get in the GOP ballot, and they went out of their way to stop me. They literally threatened people, and people don't believe me. And you probably don't either, because you think your side's the right side and only the other side's bad. The establishment of both parties cannot stand anyone who isn't establishment. Did the average Republican like me? Yeah, many of them still do. Does the average Republican establishment like me? No, they hate me. They wouldn't allow me to use any of their consultants. I couldn't pay people to go get me signatures, because anyone who would work for me, the GOP said, we'll never hire you ever again. They were literally afraid to work for me. No one local GOP person would actually also support me. They wouldn't. Why? Because they'd be shunned by the GOP and they couldn't raise the money. That's what actually happened. Now, you don't believe me. I don't care if you do. Ask what happened. If you look at how the establishment parties work, they all do that. I'm the only one with actual answer, which I'm giving you now. The rest don't. So enjoy wherever you live. Please keep watching. The issue here, what this guy's talking about here, is if you didn't know that you were going to have any government money, you would find another answer. Not just that banks might actually, know, oh, there's a need. Banks might actually finance you. That could happen. Why would a bank finance you? You're not going to ask for financing. Why would you? You haven't set yourself to be financed. That's the second piece. So yeah, it can't work. Yes. Phil says, I literally saw them lean on people in Schenectady County to avoid Larry. Oh, yes. They literally threatened people. Yes. See, Phil literally said, there are people who they said, if you put a Larry Sharpe sign in your storefront, they will come at you. Yes. Lil J says, is sending kids to 3K mandatory? No, it is not. No. It is not. It is not mandatory at all. But the point is, people made agreements based upon what the government told them. Right? That's the issue. People believed in the government and then made the agreements based upon that. So yes, that's the issue.
Significant additional resources towards the registration of these early childhood education contracts and to ensure that every single provider is ready for the first day of school.
The immediate option is a bridge
She
loan.
said that, but none of them worked. And now they say the option now is get a bridge loan from a bank. Now here's the problem. Can they get bridge loans from banks? Some people can. Listen to what a bridge loan is. A bridge loan is a loan until you get your money. So you let the bank know, hey, I have a contract. I have a loan. I have money coming in. Here's the proof that these people owe me money. Please give me a loan until I get that money, and then I'll pay you back with a small amount of interest because I have a form of a guarantee. That's a bridge loan. So for those, some of you know that already, some of you don't. That's fine and not so a bad idea if you set yourself up for the bridge loan, meaning you prepared yourself, and I mean credit-wise, asset-wise, contract-wise for the bridge loan. If you don't set yourself up, it takes months to set yourself up for as business to do that. Well, they don't have that time. So, yeah.
Which kids applied for on August 3rd. He was told it would take 7 to 10 days to clear, but says he's not gotten any update on when it will be approved.
No update.
This is simply because of operational hurdles and obstacles and bureaucratic issues that will stop programs from operating.
The
All the
comptroller's
time. That's why you shouldn't do them.
office, which registers all city contracts, says it's waiting on a large number of submissions from the DOE and is prepared to expedite the review process as soon as they arrive. In the Bronx, Heather Fordham, News 12.
So that's the piece you found here, and I wanted you to see that. So you might go, well, that sounds good. Hold on. There is actually, sadly, another one I want to show you. It's in a similar vein. You might go, well, that's just one. No. It's a similar vein. This is why I keep telling you. The answer is what I said in the first place. If you remember what I said, the way we fix this is very simple. Kids who go to school education is paid for by a sovereign fund. That's the answer. With a credit for kids who want to go to private school or want to go to homeschool. With the credit, $24,000 per year is the total with an $8,000 credit. Done. You do that, everything's fixed. Why is it a credit? Because there's no need for paperwork. You have a child. Who does the paperwork? The parent does. The parent goes, here's my kid. Go ahead. Boom. Check comes in from the sovereign fund. Done deal. No government bureaucrats, not required. This fixes it. That's an answer that I put up. Now, you might go, Larry, why would anyone go to a public school? Well, that might be true. Maybe public schools will be so terrible, no one will go to them. Perhaps. Or maybe public schools might go, wait a minute, we have to compete now with private schools and homeschooling. We have to be better. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. True. Absolutely true. Yes. Hold on. Okay. I got to do one more thing. I'm sorry, Jesse. I'm glad you're still here. I'm bringing this up because I know people think this. And I bring this up all the time. If I lived in New York, I would have signed to get Larry in GOP. It would have made a difference. Larry felt to get some interest. Okay. You're not wrong. I never said you were wrong. At no point did I say that. Never said that, ever. Here is what I would ask anyone who's watching who thinks this. No worries. Okay. If it was easy, wouldn't someone else have done it? The Green Party didn't even bother trying. Why? Because it's impossible. They failed. Does that make sense? The Green Party didn't. The Libertarian Party didn't. I didn't do it in the Libertarian Party. I didn't. I did do it in my own party because the Libertarian Party of New York State wouldn't even support me because they said, you can't do it. It can't be done. True. Not just that, I knew I had to fail. That was the sad part. Because here's the thing that's weird that Jesse might not understand. The lawsuit can't go forward unless I try and fail. Because if I don't, they will say I don't have standing. Now, you don't know that, and that's okay. Most people don't know that. You have to fail so you can have standing, so you can sue. Otherwise, they don't change the rules. So the fact that no one tries, the courts go, well, nobody cared. They don't go, no one tried because it's impossible. That's not how the courts work. That's how common sense works. That's not how it actually works. The courts only work if you fail. So someone had to get their ass kicked. Nobody wanted to get their ass kicked. I was the only guy who decided to take the hit and get my ass kicked and have guys like you, ungrateful guys like you, scold and yell at me all the time, which I still get almost all the time, right? Because here's the thing. The Republicans in my state have failed for 24 years in a row. 12 cycles of failures. 12 cycles of failures. Not one statewide victory, not governor, not senator, not AG, nothing in 24 years. 12 cycles of failure. Are people saying anything to them? No. They don't say a word to them. I can't get in the ballot in a rigged system. Larry Sharpe's terrible. Why are you lying? You're bad. Meanwhile, the Republicans in my state have been lying for 24 years. And they're fine because they're GOP. So they get to lie. They get to lie forever. The Democrats have been telling us they're going to fix our state. Mamdani has said it. He's going to fix our state. He's lying too. They're all lying. They're okay. I didn't lie to you. I had to fail so I can go to court. There's no way around it. I didn't lie to you. But I'm the bad guy, right, Jesse? I'm the bad guy. I'm the bad guy for telling you the truth, fighting through this, publicly getting my ass kicked, and having guys like you who don't know what you're talking about talking trash. Meanwhile, the Democrats have been ruining my state for 24 years, lying every single time. And the Republicans have been saying they're going to win or whatever, lying for 24 years. And that's okay. But Larry fails. He's the worst guy in the world. Let's come on to his show and talk trash about him because he's the worst guy in the world. I get it. I knew what I was doing when I did this. I knew that would happen because it always does. It's the way it works. Happened in 2022. It happens again in 2026. Now, I'll either win my lawsuit or I won't. If I won't, guys like you will just get mad and go, blah, 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 do the same old shit. And if I win, you'll disappear. You'll disappear. Won't see you again. You'll go back and make some reason why I'm crazy. I know. I've got ballot access in the past and I've lost it. I've been through both already. In fact, I'm the only guy in New York City who's ever done it. No one else has. Yeah. Anyway, thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that. Yes. Hold on. Just ask, how does Hampshire Republicans block me like thousands of years? Okay. Again, you may not know this. And I know people who are watching who may actually not know this. To get the signatures, you must only get Republicans to sign. That's utter garbage, but that's the law in New York State. So if you're not a registered Republican, you can't get signatures, which makes no sense. Now, signing as a Republican makes sense. That does make sense because Republicans sign for Republicans. Totally makes sense. But getting the signature, now you must be a Republican. Getting signatures is done by professionals because of the short time period they give you. That's what everyone does. So what do? You hire professionals. That's what everyone, that's how it's done. You may not know that. That's how it's done. The problem is for me to hire Republicans to get Republicans, I have to use Republicans to do it. The Republican establishment hires these people every year to get themselves on the ballot. They literally said, if you use Larry Sharpe, we will never hire you again. I'm not making that up. You can ask anyone here. They'll tell you. They told that to my face. So now when that happens, they go, wait a minute. If I help Larry, I'm never going to get a job again. So I can't do that. So therefore, none of them would help me. I literally could not pay people to do so. And the time period, I was unaware. And maybe that's my ignorance. I'm happy to say that. Maybe it's my ignorance. I didn't think that every one of them would tell me no. Every one of them told me no. If you think I'm making that up, check it yourself if you like. I hope I've cleared this up for those people who may be concerned, but that's how the system works. So I know you don't want to believe that because you think the GOP is better in some way, shape, or form, but it isn't. All establishment's establishment. All righty.
Well, public schools here in the city just 2 weeks away now from welcoming students back for the new school year.
But some early childhood education programs say they can't afford supplies and snacks for the kids or salaries for the teachers.
So they can't pay salaries or snacks for the kids. So are you going to take the kids in? Probably not. Are you going to even have the teachers show up? Probably not. If you have your teachers show up, they're going to sue you for the money, whether you get your issue or
Education reporter
not.
Doug Williams has more on the funding delay causing it all.
We have no money to open.
Lori Cangelosi took to TikTok as the owner and director of a preschool on Staten Island. As she explains it, city funding that her program usually receives in August is running late. She was told.
So she was actually part of the old school and got screwed. The other guy was new. She was old school and even she got screwed.
To apply for a bridge loan, but she can't get her hands on that money fast enough either. Her funding to start the school year will come from her own savings account.
We don't want.
She is so dedicated. This is what I'm talking about. When I talk about individual people in communities who care. I don't know this woman at all, but if she's going to write a check out of her personal savings, get this thing started, I would never advise her to do so because the state is going to fuck you over. But I understand why she does it. She obviously cares. Funny how the individual person actually cares, but the state doesn't, but the city doesn't. So what should we do? Give more power to the city.
Want to hurt the children, but we don't know what to do. We can't pay staff.
The funding she's waiting on is an annual advance in the year's budget, covering essentials like snacks and supplies for the kids and salaries for educators. But you need a contract to get it. And the Mamdani administration's education department is in the process of redoing those contracts for early childhood.
They're redoing. Now, here's what. Look at Mamdani. Look at Mamdani. Again, every single thing he's doing is failing. However, he looks amazing. He's hanging out with the kids. He's
programs
coloring with them and
in
stuff.
an effort to improve the terms for them and increase funding. But a delay has instead left pre-K and 3K programs like Lori's.
Now, they're going to give him a pass this year. They're going to, because they want to believe in him. They're going to give him a pass this year. But if this happens again next year, no, they won't. They want to believe in him. I see it in New York State. They want to believe in him. They're going to give him a pass this time.
Without contracts at all.
We have made this very clear that this is a top priority internally.
And it's
New
failed
York City
badly.
Public schools will be pursuing that.
We don't know if we're being phased out, if they're throwing us away.
The Mamdani administration would say, we're prioritizing you. It's the opposite of the truth, but you're saying you don't feel that right now.
No, he's saying that, but we're not seeing it.
A spokesperson for the Department of Education says the new early childhood contracts are being prioritized in the system and that going forward, quote, standardizing and expediting this process will be a priority.
That sounds amazing. Again, this is, I will tell you, Democrats, I tell you all the time, they have better rhetoric. They talk nice. It sounds amazing. See, we're going to prioritize you.
It's what our families and providers deserve and what we will
deserve
deliver.
it. Didn't I tell you that they always use that word deserve? The left will always use the word deserve.
Doug's joining us now. Doug, have they told Lori when this might be resolved?
Well, Lori tried to find the answers. She actually forwarded me emails that appear to show her back and forth with the DOE. And one of them, the DOE tells her it takes, quote, a few months to register.
A few months. They start in 2 weeks. But it's a priority. Nothing these are all their words. I'm making nothing up. This is all their words. This is what will happen. I'm showing you this. This is what will happen. It's bad. It's bad. So, yeah. All right. Let me keep going down here. I'm going to get rid of that piece. Now, the next piece I wanted to bring up. Let me finish this piece. I'm going to give you an answer. As I told you, is 3K important? Is pre-K important? Actually, no. And let me tell you why. 3K and pre-K don't help as much as people say. It's basically childcare. Am I against childcare? I'm not. Am I against state childcare? I am. I would like people to have localized childcare as they see fit. That's what I would prefer. We should encourage that, not state-sponsored childcare. Not just that. We should also have an idea where if people are making enough money locally, one parent can stay home Or if we have better families, grandma, uncle, aunt can watch the kids. What's wrong with that? You may, oh, Larry, that's old school. I don't care if it's old school. It should be an option. There are people who want to do that and feel like they can't. If you think I'm making it up, it's all over. People are constantly saying, I wish I could. I don't want to work. I want to stay home. And they can't. They can't. It is an issue. So anyway, we can fix this. We should fix this. It's not more money, and it isn't the government at all. Now, next piece Mamdani is working on is healthcare. Right now in Brooklyn, the Maimonides Medical Center is about to be taken over by the city. Yes, taken over by the city. So the city now just took over childcare, and that's a failure. So what do you want the next answer to be? Let's take over healthcare. Because what could go wrong? Because what could go wrong? Yeah, that's literally what's happening right now. Let me show you this one if I could. This is people who are trying to stop the takeover. And it is a takeover.
Today, opponents of the proposed merger of Maimonides Medical Center with New York City Health and Hospitals will testify before a state public health panel in Albany. The proposed plan would bring Maimonides into the city's public hospital system.
Because what could go wrong? Would give right? The city always, oh, wait, we just saw a whole bunch. Yeah. Yes.
Maimonides more financial stability, access to higher Medicaid rates, and
now, more financial stability. Why? I'll explain that in a second. And number two, access to higher Medicaid rates. Why? Oh, so if you're the government, you get higher Medicaid rates? And you wonder why the private sector can't survive. You get paid more if you're government. She just said the quiet part out loud.
New electronic health record system, but opponents worry about.
Yeah, more and more and more. And what happened during the lockdowns? Oh, they forced the control of all the hospitals and shut them down. Remember that? What could go wrong? All right. The reason why I bring this up is because why is this happening? Why is this happening? This may seem weird because just 5 months ago, something good was happening with this same hospital. Just 5 months ago. What changed? I don't understand. What happened?
It's a major milestone at Maimonides Medical Center in Brooklyn. Today was the grand opening of an expanded children's emergency department, now the largest in the borough.
See, the expanded one, largest in the borough. Huh.
Anna Klieger reports on Brooklyn's new high-tech hospital and how children will now be helped.
Children will be helped now.
A packed crowd of community leaders came.
Brooklyn has 2.3 million people. It has like 700,000 or 800,000 children. Brooklyn is huge. Is it maybe 700,000, give or take? And that something like that. It's in Brooklyn. It's about 700,000, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that's how many children, 18 years old or under, in Brooklyn. Now, you got a hospital? Why? Why didn't they build hospitals earlier? Oh, because you can't in New York State. In New York State, you have to have what's called a certificate of need, which means the governor decides, I'm not making this up, when and how you can create a hospital in New York State. I wish that I was joking. No. So if you are a doctor and go, hey, I love my community. I want to go get some financing from some bankers and I want to build a hospital. You can't. You can't unless the governor says yes. I'm not joking. You can be, but you can be a doctor. Hey, look, I know my community. No. Not just that, thanks to Obama, it's against the law for a doctor to own a hospital. I wish I was joking. That's actually true. Thank you, Obama. Now you can't even, a doctor can't even own a hospital. What was that? That was a gift to the financiers. And it worked. Now all healthcare is financed. Thank you, Obama. That's Obamacare. Again, wish I was joking. Absolutely true to your own homework on that. That's how that actually works. There we go. Mike says, 550. Okay, I was off. There we go. I thought it was about 700. It's about 600. Okay, I was off. Thanks, Mike. So there we go.
Came out to celebrate the ribbon cutting of Maimonides Health's newly expanded pediatric emergency department.
There we go.
Hospital leaders say the state-of-the-art space is 4 times bigger than before, highlighting the need for an expansion like this.
There are 600,000 children in this
600,000.
and only one children's hospital.
Yeah. Think about that. Who's responsible for that? Oh, wait, the state. The state just like it's only one. Who's in charge? Oh, wait, the state is. Yes. Liz says, wait, what? Adopt a Canada hospital? Yes. I'm not making that up. ChatGPT it now. Against the law. Yes. That's absolutely true.
Let that sink in for a minute.
Let that sink in for a minute. The government did this.
Focus on a tour of the various amenities, including private rooms, the latest imaging technology, and a facility equipped to serve more than 30,000 children annually.
This children's emergency department is only one of 13 pediatric trauma centers in all of New York State.
This is a project.
They're like, it's only this, only that. You could just get the government out and you could build a hospital, whatever you want. That's it.
Nearly 10 years in the making, hospital leaders.
It took 10 years to make this happen. That's the point. Why did it take 10 years to build out a hospital like this? And not even the new one, to expand it. Why? Government. And we want government to do more. Sadly, we do. Because we don't know any place. We don't know anything else. We have no idea. You could just say, and this is the answer, as I've said before, as governor, I can't just end certificates of need. I can't do that. I wish I could. I just can't do that. What can I do? It is automatic. It is a rubber stamp. Put the paperwork in, done, go. Paperwork in, done, go. Paperwork in, done, go. That's it, done, automatic. I want to start 7 hospitals in Suffolk County. Done. Go. I don't care. Why? If you go under, you go under. Here's the next reason why. Do you know who funded this? Do you know who funded this? The feds, HUD, and FHA. Of course they did. Of course HUD did. Why? Why wouldn't just regular financiers just do this? Why? Because no one knows if it's going to work or not because it's not based upon anything except bureaucracy. Now, Larry, that sounds crazy. You can't just let regular people do it. I'm going to tell you something. Right alongside healthcare, essential healthcare, is another form of healthcare. And that form of healthcare is voluntary or optional healthcare. Things like cosmetic surgery, cosmetic dentistry, LASIK eye care, things like that, right? That's right next to it. Somehow that's not controlled by government. And yet somehow those guys all make money, build out tons of clinics, get funded without government funding, and make money everywhere. In fact, you're finding more and more people leave general practice and go to specialties because there's more money in it. It doesn't take 10 years if you want to build out a body enhancement center, probably 2 years at max. Why? Government's not involved. It's not essential. Not just that. All essential healthcare has gotten more expensive. Government runs it. All non-essential has gotten cheaper. All of it. It's all gotten cheaper and more accessibility. I'd say this all the time. When I was a kid, only like movie stars got cosmetic dentistry. Now anyone can. Now anyone can. But Larry, what about the insurance? We need insurance. Where's the insurance there? But we need people to have Medicare for all. They don't want Medicare for all. What they want is Medicare for y'all. They don't want Medicare for all. They want Medicare for y'all. They're going to keep their private doctors. See, the wealthy don't go to Medicare insurance doctors. They go to doctors who don't take insurance. That's already happening in New York City. It's happening across the country, but you can see it. It's night and day in New York City. If you're not wealthy, you use your insurance. If you're wealthy, you go to a private doctor, write a check, or swap your credit card. That's how that works. So yeah. All right. Let me grab a couple of these before I keep going and grab a couple of these. Andrew says, conservatism is progressivism driving the speed limit. True. True. I like that. D says, I know more GOP that actually want as much government in their lives as those from cradle to grave Democrats that love government intervention in their lives. Well, no, they want their type of government. So yeah, that they want their type. When their guy does it, it's fine. So yeah, let me grab a couple more of these if I could. Mike says, Hochul's busy protecting illegal aliens and ensuring that they are rewarded for crimes. Mamdani's backstabbing supporters, his union, as he tried to implode the city. One of two. Hold on a second one. Why voters don't connect these and many consequences to them policies and single party rule, I cannot fathom. And I'm going to tell you why. It's a great question. You go on to say, you actually answer your own question. Virtue signaling seems more vital than positive outcomes. Yes, they virtue signal, Mike, because there's nothing else. It's literally that simple. No answer, virtue signal. I'll take the virtue signal. I know this sucks because that's where I am now. I'm aware this sucks. I'll take it. What else do I have? I keep saying this. If you have an answer, you have a chance. They don't have an answer. So they go with Mamdani. What else are they going to do? Just what else? There's nothing else to do. So, yeah. All righty. Let me walk down this one if I can. 6022 says, when COVID was happening, they said hospitals didn't have enough beds. How much capacity we had? None. You are correct. They got mad at that. We only had 50,000 beds in this state. Cuomo got mad at that when Cuomo did it. I can't believe it. Dude, homeboy, you decided that. You decided. And then afterwards, I look now, we have, 50,000. No difference. We haven't changed. Have not changed. Again, wish I was making that up. Yes, we've done nothing to change. Yep. Yo, me, Larry Sharpe, Governor of New York. Thank you. Yes. All righty. 6222 goes on to say more government control, more jobs and more to Texas, more budget shortfalls, more taxes. Yes, 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 yes. Mike says solution for everything for a socialist is more government. The source of the issue. That's the problem, Mike. See, and I say this all the time, but it's important. If you listen to the average socialist today talking, not the politician, the average socialist, they will tell you, no, you're wrong, Mike. Socialism is about when workers own the means of production. That's what they will tell you. The problem is none of his policies do that. His policies are about more centralized control. They're not about people owning the means. I don't see that. Is he making a policy where local people have ownership in a hospital, which is what I'd be doing? I'd have local people owning the hospital through residency. This way they can make rules on it. They can decide. The local people can decide, we would like to spend our money on children or on the elderly or on mental health or on physical health or on whatever the local people think they need more. That's what I'd be talking about. Then the people can decide. Maybe they don't need, and I don't know this, maybe that's why they couldn't get it funded. Maybe this wasn't the priority of Brooklyn. Again, I don't know that. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe elder care was more important, but they went with the kid care. Well, if local people decide, you go with what you want. And it won't take you 10 years. You'll have 1 year of voting done. So yes, you're right. That's the talk. It's not real. I wish it was real. So yes. All righty. Well, you guys spent a lot of time yelling at Jesse. I hope he's still here. I don't mind. So yeah. All righty. Let's see here. Okay. Hold on. Oh, you guys got mad because he was insulting. Oh yeah. You see, Jesse, just in case you're still here, you can insult me all day. I'm here for it. I got it. Please don't insult the people in the chat. That gets the people in the chat upset. They want to have a conversation. They don't want to be yelled at. I can be yelled at. It's fine. I put myself out there. Whatever. I'm immune to it, as you can tell. And I take it. It's what I'm supposed to do. And I fight back. It's totally fine. But you don't want to be attacking the chat. This isn't that kind of chat. We don't like attacking each other. That's not a thing. You can absolutely disagree and have an argument. Absolutely. But the insult part is the problem. You can call people wrong all the time. No worries. And we don't have a problem with that. So yes. He says, but Larry, aren't you a Democrat operative? You have all kinds of money coming from all kinds of donors. That's what I hear all the time. I hear it all the time. Yeah, I'm a Democrat. My check hasn't come yet. Hochul, give me my check. What happened? Yeah, absolutely. Yes. All right. Fine. Okay. Theodore Roosevelt's quote: "If he fails, at least he fails daring greatly, so that his place should never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat." True. That's true. I like that. I like that. That was a long one. I couldn't get the whole thing in. Phil, sorry. All righty. I grabbed that one. You grabbed that one. I'm trying to catch up. I'm going slower, but I'm trying to catch up. Okay. Got that one already. All right. Nosia says people have choices. They choose to put their kids in the control under the influence of the government so they can both work and work ungodly hours and make ends meet. That's a plan, folks. Keep complying. Your point's valid, Kim, and I would like local people to have decisions on whether they want to do that or not. It is my opinion you should not do that, but I don't judge you. You do as you see fit, right? When my kids were young, their mom was home. She didn't work. That was my decision. I was happy to do it. She didn't mind. She was happy doing it. All good. So, yeah. But again, you do you. I'm not here to fight you. I would like you to have the freedom to decide what you want to do. That's what I want. So, yes. Everything says the Republicans in this state instead of just losers who love losing. I wish that wasn't true. And I want to be clear, not the voters. The Republican voters actually want change. I talk to them. They actually can't stand. If you talk to the average Republican voter in New York State, they hate socialism. They hate communism. They don't want this to be the answer. Many of them just given up though, because the establishment has accepted it will lose and doesn't care. You're right. And it's heartbreaking for so many. So, all righty. Roger, thank you for the membership, brother. Larry, I just got here, but if you're talking about Mamdani, I told you. So you did. No. You're not wrong. I'm agreeing with you. I just said so with Mike. You're right. He talks a good game, but he's actually more Soviet than he is socialist. And I brought this up last year when I went through all of his policies. He doesn't have on his website anymore. But if you go through that series I put on the Larry Sharpe YouTube page, you'll see I went through all his policies, Roger, 3 shows, every single policy. Not one of them was actually socialist. They were all Soviet. They were all Soviet, not socialist. And what will happen is people will say, no, we don't want socialism like the Soviet Union. We want this kind of socialism. Yeah, but you just voted a guy who's Soviet. So you're not wrong, but he's not that kind of socialist. He's Soviet. And that's the problem. So there we go. All righty. I wouldn't call them professionals. Well, they get paid. So yes. D says, I mean, Jesus Christ, we had Republicans in New York call events you were going to and said, don't host our show. That's true. Yes. Guys, D's on the team. That's not a joke. Republicans would call my events ahead and say that my event was canceled. They would pretend they came from my campaign. True story, would call the event, say it was canceled. So we'd have to call the event in advance to make sure that they didn't cancel it because someone would call and say it's canceled. Republican operatives would see my event on Facebook, call the venue, say they're from the campaign, and cancel the event. I'm not joking. That is how bad. Democrats don't do that. Why? Democrats don't care. They know they're going to win. They don't care. They laugh at me. Whatever, Larry. Do your thing. Who cares? They don't care. They're not mad at me. They're not happy with me. They don't care at all. I am irrelevant to Democrats in this state. Irrelevant. They know they're going to win. They do not care at all. They're nicer to me because they're polite. And I wish I was making that up. I'm not. Democrats are nicer to me in this state because they're polite. Nice, Larry. Good job. That's what they care about because they're like, you ain't going to win. You can do nothing. Republicans like, oh my God, you threaten us. Get them. Republicans fight me like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, I wish that wasn't true, but sadly it is. Bruno with the quotes. The state calls its own violence law, but that the individual a crime. Max Turner. True. Yes. Okay. Let's see here. See if I can go down here. Okay, you guys are going back and forth here. That's good. Okay. I think we do have Andrea. Hold on. Andrea got a George Carlin one. You have owners who own you. They own everything. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking that are interested in that. It doesn't help them. George Carlin. True again. But we got some good quotes tonight. I want to go through a couple because I was falling behind. I don't want to fall so far behind. So I didn't want to go that far behind. All righty. Veronica got more quotes. A political party, then, is a collective whose overriding purpose and reason for being is to seize control of the state for plunder and coercion for its cause. Samuel E. Conklin. Yes, however, there is an argument, which I know you disagree with, Brana, but there is an argument that says, if I don't get that power, someone else will. So voting or creating political parties becomes self-defense. I'm aware you disagree with that argument, but it is an argument. So that's the argument against that, which is, yeah, but someone's gonna. So someone's gonna pick that machine gun up. I'm gonna grab it before the other guy does. That's the concept. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. I think we went down that road. I grabbed some of those. All right. Roger says, I got a citizens ballot initiative amendment that wouldn't run afoul of the ACA to make hospitals cooperatively owned by the workers, owned by everyone except doctors. Doctors will work for the owners, nurses. Yeah, you'd have to do that. And that would be so bad, Roger. You're not wrong. That would be a way around it. You could make the workers owned, but not doctors. But the problem is that the doctors don't have voting rights. And the doctors, in theory, I mean, maybe I'm not savvy to know this, but I would assume, would you want the doctor's input into running a hospital? I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's totally administrative. I've never run a hospital before, so perhaps you don't. But one would think you'd kind of want the doctor's input. So, yeah, but you're right. That would work. That would get around the ACA. I agree with that. So, yes. All right, let me go a little bit further here.
It's the only pediatric trauma center in Brooklyn.
As we see health,
they keep acting like it's the only one. Government made the decision.
Healthcare being cut, being slashed. It's an honor to be at a place that is not only saying we're going to continue to get health.
Okay, another guy, very good. I know Jumani. He actually beat me, sadly. He beat me in a home run derby. He did. He's also like 20 years younger than me, so that's my excuse. But yes, I threw out the first pitch, and we were in a home run derby together. And he actually, I only got one home run. He got three. He didn't win. There were three of us in the home run derby. One of the guys was like a pro, like literally he was a retired pro. He got like 9 home runs. I got the least with 1, and Jumani got 3. So Jumani beat me. I can still hit a home run, damn it. Anyway, but that's true story. So yes. Any case, yeah, Jumani is also savvy. Jumani speaks well. People love him. He's a very popular politician, but similar to Mamdani in that regard.
We're going to expand.
City officials reflected on how scary it can be for a parent to find their child in the emergency room.
My 1-year-old daughter, about 15 years ago, cracked her chin open on a glass.
Yeah, so I can go back to that. Roger says, Medicare for all, you can use your own doctor as well. Oh, no, Roger. It depends on which that is. I'd rather call it Tricare for all. Tricare for all isn't Medicare for all. There's a difference. I'm okay theoretically with a public option. Theoretically, I am. With the right system, again, similar to the school system, I would be okay if our shift to the private sector, if the shift began with a public option that will make people happy, I could accept that. I know that's for some libertarians, that's not good enough. But I have to be realistic. We are moving towards Medicare for all. I would accept Tricare, if that makes any sense. So we'd have a public option. I would accept the public option if we went down that road, because I see where it's going, and where it's going now is to Medicare for all, where we get rid of all insurance, we get rid of all private doctors. You have to have Medicare. That's where it's going. So yeah, any case. All righty. Well, everybody got their quotes today. Andrew, democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it good and hard. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, if we're going to have democracy, if that's what we're going to have, then they should get it good and hard and learn their lessons. And if you have a localized, decentralized democracy, one group will do it and get it good and hard, and others will go, that did not look good at all. That looked painful. Let's not do that. Yes, absolutely. So, all righty. Let's see here. News says, just shut up, Larry. Don't you know they hate you for shitting in the Easter basket? True. I know. It's true. We have to. So, what are you going to do? I think I covered that. I'm going to get rid of this piece because there was one more. Last one. That was showing you how bad that was. Here is the last piece, which I know Mike is going to love this one because Mike's a big fan of this one. Mike loves, if Mike's still watching and listening, he loves this one. Of all the things, I mean, Mike loves so many things about Mamdani, but here's what he really loves. He loves the government-run stores. Mike is all about it. He thinks it is the way to save the state. He's told me that if we just, if all this was government run, Mamdani would be the leader of the world. I'm obviously teasing Mike, but no, now we are talking about that piece. Then you might go, wait a minute, Larry. I heard that his stores are going to help everybody out because we're going to have cheaper food everywhere. It's going to work. It's going to be amazing. No. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Hold on. I didn't give you an answer for healthcare. As I did tell you immediately. I'm sorry. I should give you an answer. First off, I should give you an answer. How are you going to fix healthcare? Option number one, first piece of this is, as I said, all certificates of need are automatic. Build as you want to build. Allow people to grow as they see fit, as the secondary, market for healthcare is already doing. Let it grow. Number one, people will build out as they see fit. There we go. Number two, I would say what you're saying, Roger. I would simply not call hospitals hospitals. I would call them something else and allow doctors to own them. That's all. And let the government sue. Because the vast majority of Americans don't know doctors can't own hospitals. And once the world knows that, they go, this is fucking stupid. No, end this. So I would call it something else. I'd call it, it's not a hospital. It's a medical house or whatever. And I would say doctors can own it because it's not a hospital. The feds would, of course, come in and go, oh, you can't do that because feds. Great. Sue me. I don't care. I'm be sued. If I'm ever governor, and I hope I'll be governor by next year. If I'm ever governor, I will absolutely be sued by the federal government multiple times. Like for my entire 4 years, I'll be sued by the government. There'll be another lawsuit they'll have against me. Good. And I will go on TV and I will go on Fox News and I'll go on CNN and go, doctors can't own hospitals. And people go, oh, that's really dumb. I know. So can we end it now? And then I'll win the lawsuit. And if I don't, I'll just blow them off. So it won't matter anyway. So either way, I do that. So I will start that piece. There's another piece. I would allow, to Roger's point, to have hospitals being built in a co-op manner so that not just the workers can own it. Because I would rather, when it comes to a hospital, I'd actually rather not have the workers own it, to be forward with you. I'd rather not. I would rather have the residents own it because I'd rather have ownership be based upon residency. It would allow people to want to work locally, which is awesome because you could have an ownership in the place you work, which would be great, assisting with localism. You don't have to. You can live someplace if you want to, but it would give you a reason to want to live locally. That'd be nice. You have a choice. Again, you don't have to, but I'm encouraging you to live locally, which is great. And it can't be bought because you gain residence. You gain the ownership by residency. If you move away, you lose ownership. So I'd rather have it that way. Local people get to vote in it and decide what works and what doesn't work. I like that better. Now, maybe you create a board from the people who are there, right? And maybe if you're part of the board, maybe you do that from the workers. I can see that. So I'd rather have that happen if I could. So you can do that. Last piece. When it comes, remember, most of New Yorkers are on either Medicaid or Medicare. Over 50% are. With that in mind, actuaries already know about how much money you're going to spend based upon your age and all your stuff. Got it. All right. They should give you that money on a credit card up front. Whatever, you're a 50-something-year-old woman with X, Y, and Z issues. They know you're going to spend probably $2,000 a year. I made the number up. $2,000 a year, $1,000 on your card. Just like EBT, similar to EBT. There's your Medicaid, Medicare card. But what if you run out? You still have Medicaid, Medicare. Doesn't go away. But you have that amount on a card that you can go anywhere you want. As long as it's a medical facility that's signed up. Yep, we signed up medical. Swipe your card. What will happen? Well, you can go to private doctors now. You can now go to the same doctors the rich people go to if you want to. Up to you. Now, let's say you don't use your $2,000 that year. You don't use it. Or you decide, I'm just going to go to my regular Medicaid or Medicare doctor. It's nothing special. I just want to go for a checkup, whatever. You don't care. Up to you. You choose. This is your money. Do as you see fit. Next year, you're not $2,000. You got $4,000 on it now. Damn. Go to any doctor you want. You can go swipe your card. Go to the best doctors. What will happen naturally? Doctors' offices will go, wait a minute. I can just get the money? Yes. I don't have to have 4 administrators? Nope. I don't have to fight Medicaid money? No, you don't have to. They swipe the card. You will watch people fight to change the entire system. It will break the entire system over the course of 3-4 years. Break the whole system. That's how you do it. You get people understanding how the wealthy do it, and they will want it because the wealthy know how to do it. They're doing it right. We have to follow that. So, yes. All righty. It says, yes, Soviets are the same thing that decades ago. Correct. He is Soviet. That's correct. All right. So here is, now I'm going to go to his store. He's going to get the stores. Mamdani is going to save us all, as you know. He is going to build the grocery stores. It's going to save us all. So we're lucky that he's going to do that. And that's going to help us all out. So yes. All righty. And here we go.
Mayor Mamdani's plan to build 5 city-run grocery stores is in the crosshairs tonight.
Crosshairs.
A coalition representing 1,000.
Oh my God, a coalition must be representing 1,000 evil Republicans, conservatives who hate brown people. It's got to be those, right? It's the evil white male conservatives who just want to get rid of the racist, them, right?
Minority-owned bodegas and supermarkets.
What? Minority-owned bodega owners? Who would have thought of that? Oh my God. Yes, I know. It's as if it's like a joke. This is real. Yes. Literally the people who he's supposed to be helping are suing him. I wish I was joking. No, it must be John Katsimatidis, the rich white guy who owns all the big grocery stores. He must be suing. No. It must be Walmart or Target. No. Must be the tech bros. No. It's minority-owned bodega store owners. Yes. It's like I've just made this joke up.
Is suing to stop him.
Yes.
Political reporter Marcia Creamer has the story.
Elvis area is flattening plantains in his East Harlem mini market, hoping against hope that Mayor Mamdani's plan to open a city-run grocery.
Again, look how good he looks. This reminds me, and some of you get mad when I say it. I know mine's gonna be pissed when I say it, but it reminds me actually of Reagan. Do you remember in the 80s, for those of you who are old enough, they were trying so hard to hammer Reagan in the mainstream media. And they were going, Ronald Reagan, who wants to whatever, kill whatever they wanted to, what was whatever bad thing Reagan was going to do. He's going to kill black people or whatever he was going to do, right? Whatever. And they would show him like speaking behind a bunch of American flags and people hugging him. And he looked amazing, but they kept saying bad things. But he always looked amazing because he was always smiling, shaking people's hands. And Reagan was like, thanks for the free press. Look at Mamdani. They're trying to attack him. He looks great. He's like, keep going. Guy's got rich.
Store doesn't flatten his business and cause him to close.
I'm scared to get out of the business because I'm here 25 years.
He's ready to leave the business. He's been here 25 years. Do you see that? I always talk about crushing the little guy. this is what happens. I told you about Mamdani's plans. They will crush the little guy. Now, they won't know again for about a year or two. This lawsuit won't happen for a while. This won't happen until next year. That's the issue. It's not going to affect this election cycle. This election cycle is not going to touch it at all. 2028, for sure 2032. Maybe 2028, not this year. This year, Mamdani is going to be the star because only, 2 months left? He's still a star for 2 months. Not going to hit yet. I remember when Mike and I were first talking about this. He's like, oh, it's going to be bad. I said, not right away. It's going to take time. Bad policies take time. Now, the best part is I don't know how it's going to happen yet, but I guarantee it's going to happen. Whatever bad stuff happens from this, they will find a way to blame Trump. I haven't figured out how yet, but there's no doubt. There's probably some people right now in Mamdani's plan going, how do we blame Trump when this shit fails? What if we say, they're probably shopping ideas right now. They will find a way to blame Trump. I don't know. And again, if people want to believe it, they will.
Elvis is especially worried because the first city-run grocery store is supposed to open next year at La Marqueta, just a block away.
A block
Ironically,
away.
The mayor announced the plan in front of his store.
He announced it in front of his store. Yeah. He announced it in front of his store. Yes. So that's funny. Andrew says Blakeman surely goes to Trump. Blakeman cannot. He cannot stop humping Trump's leg. He just can't. He can't stop it. He can't stop humping Trump's leg. Now, look, again, there are parts of this country that love Trump. If he was running in Oklahoma, great idea. South Carolina, great idea. It's New York State, dude. It's New York State. Brona says, disagree or not, I always enjoy you providing an argument, Larry. Yep, it's true. That is the argument. That is the argument. I know you disagree.
But never came inside to see how it would affect him.
Oh, he not talk to me. He not coming through.
He didn't go talk to the business owner. Mamdani didn't go talk to the business owner. Yeah. Everything says, Larry, did you see the video of Assembly member Emily Gallagher defending her stance on petty crime? Yes. Oh my God. For those of you who don't know, Emily Gallagher is literally the stereotype of the Karen. Like, she's the stereotype. Like, whatever. If you're imagining maybe like a heavyset white woman, that's her. Like, she's that stereotype. And she was like, what was her words? I think her words were, if you see somebody stealing soap, it's because they need soap or whatever, something like that, right? No, they selling that shit in the subway. Stop it. They don't need soap. They're selling that shit in the subway. Here's that people like her and others like her are so broken. They just want to believe everybody is a victim, right? ABV, always be a victim, right? Always be a victim no matter what, right? Always be a victim no matter what. Coffee's for victims. Yes. Always soap is for victims. Only be a victim. That's always be a victim no matter what. So if New York State gives out billions of dollars. I did a show on this, remember, on how much it gives out to people in direct cash payments. If you are in trouble, you can buy soap. That's not a thing. You can buy soap. Now, you might not be able to buy newer sneakers or the coolest Dominican hat. You might not be able to buy that. But you can buy soap if you choose to. If you can't afford soap, you don't have an address. I'm not joking. If you have an address in New York State, you can afford soap. If you have an address in New York State, you will not starve. There is food for you if you want it. It is there if you have an address. Now, some people are home without an address. That's different. But if you have an address, you can. Every one of these people who are robbing, they got addresses. They got addresses. They're stealing not because they're starving. They're stealing not because they're dirty. They're stealing because they're selling that shit. This is a business for them. So yeah, she's an embarrassment. And she is another reason why the city is collapsing. Another reason why this is clout. People vote for her too. But again, where's the Republican answer? Nowhere. That's why she keeps winning. Nowhere.
He just stood outside?
Yes, that's it.
But the mayor's staffers went in to buy a bottle of water.
Bingo.
While they were doing this.
Ken Roldan is the head of the Multicultural Business Coalition, which filed this suit today to stop the mayor in his tracks.
Yes, crazy. I hate says not the pro-criminal advocate Shivani Williams. Very popular though. He is. I've met him. I know him. He's actually a nice guy. If you meet him, you would like him. If you like, a lot of these guys, they got charisma. Charisma matters. Charisma matters. Andrea says, Larry, 1 home run is better than what I could do. Well, I can still get one of them at least. I got one. I'll take it. I got one. So yes, he got 3 though. He's also like 20 years younger than me. So there we go. Okay. All righty. Let's see here.
He says as many as 1,000 minority-owned bodegas and supermarkets could be adversely affected.
He says he's the champion of the disenfranchised.
That's what he says. That's true. I love this guy. This guy gets it. This guy gets it. Yes, he says he's the champion little guy. What is he?
And the working class New Yorkers, of which this strategy demonstrates that he's not.
Roldan, his group represents people like Elvis Arias and a mix of Hispanic, Korean, Arab, and Chinese-owned establishments.
Isn't that weird? Chinese, Arab, Hispanic, all these other people. Arab, all of them. What happened to the white guys? I thought this was like white guys hate brown people or something. I guess that's not true after all. Huh. That's weird.
Establishments says he's tried to set up a meeting with the mayor to discuss their concerns, but to no avail. He wants to tell him that the mayor's plan to sell products 30% cheaper will kill businesses.
You gotta paralyze them. A 30% below market strategy in terms of selling groceries to the community, it just will paralyze.
If Walmart did that, they'd be protesting, right? And they did protest Walmart in New York City. Remember? Yes. If Walmart did that, they'd be protesting. But so he walks in and does it. Because you know what's weird? And I wish I was joking on this. If the private sector does it, it's bad because capitalism. But if the government does it, it's okay because socialism, even though the outcome is exactly the same. Think about that. What if it was Walmart coming in saying, we're going to come in and build out our superstores and sell at 30%? They'd be in the streets screaming. This would never happen. They'd be fighting this tomorrow. But Mamdani does it. It's fine. Because it's not capitalism. It's socialism. But that isn't, but it is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Yes. Mike says, of course I'm here. You selling me. I'm teasing. Of course Mike hates this shit. Of course he does. I'm totally messing with him. That's why I said it. So yes.
A lot of these small immigrant businesses.
I continue to be fully confident in both the legality and the importance of...
He's very confident. He's not wrong. This one is not lying. He is confident. True. He's wrong. It's not going to work, but he is confident. It's true.
Our initiative to deliver 5 city-run grocery stores, 1 in each borough, to the people of our city. We are talking about a reflection of a cost of living crisis that is seen.
This is the part that he does very well, right? He does very well. He says it's cost of living. The Republicans aren't even talking about this at all. I'm talking about it. They're talking about anti-Semitism or whatever, or communism, whatever. They're not giving an answer for cost of living. If they would give an answer for cost of living, they could beat him. If they had a guy with charisma, they could beat him. They can't. So how do you deal with that? All right, here's the issue to remember. Right now, one of the more successful grocery store chains in New York is Grocers. Some of you may or may not know that. Run by a guy named John Katsimatidis, who, by the way, would not support me this year when I asked him. But yes, got mad at me, said he's a friend of Blakeman and would not support me. I know, but that's true. So Johnny Katz, as he sometimes goes by, owns Grocers. You might go, well, he's a billionaire. He is. And well, that's why it makes... No, he actually doesn't make much money on the supermarkets. I'm not joking. Just, he actually doesn't make that much money on it. Now, but he's rich. Yes. Katzmatidis owns massive amounts of properties in New York City. So he owns an entire building. So since he owns the entire building, he has his own supermarket in the bottom of the building as the retail store. Now, he doesn't make much money on Gristedes. He doesn't. Where does he make money? He can charge high rents because you literally have a supermarket, a full supermarket at the bottom of your apartment building, which delivers. So you can either go downstairs to get your groceries, call you get your groceries, or have them deliver upstairs. But yeah. So he can charge us the rents. So he uses his supermarkets as a way of charging higher rents for his apartment buildings. It's a brilliant strategy and works amazingly well, but that's how he can make his money. Otherwise, it's hard to make money. That's why bodegas have to sell all the garbage they sell and promote so much. Not just that, there are rules on bodegas that hammer you. Signage rules, not just signage rules, also what kind of gate you can have rules. I wish I was joking. And the board and Department of Buildings changes them as they see fit because the assembly people say something stupid like, well, we want to see who's inside. I'm not joking. So now you have to have a gate and not a flat one. They make this up. So now you have to change all of them. Oh, the sign is too bright or not bright enough. They have to change all of them. I'm not joking. That's a real thing. Crushes them. There was a time for about 3 years, Mike, you may remember this, where bodegas had no signs. They had no signs because they couldn't afford new ones. But if they were up, they get fined. So they pulled their signs off. There's no signs. That's how bad it is. So what is the answer? There is an answer. First thing you could do, without question, is if someone wants to have some type of mixed use building, give them a benefit like Katzmatidis gets if they put a grocery store in their building. Follow the model that's working now. Give them some kind of benefit, right? Whatever that is. Maybe if you decide to put a supermarket in your building, whatever the percentage of commercial taxation would be, you don't pay that if it's a supermarket. And you give some kind of rules what supermarket is, has to sell X amount of fresh food, whatever the case may be, or make something fresh there, whatever. You have the rules, so it's not a bodega. And not just that, it would then change bodegas. Bodegas would have more fresh food, right? They don't right now. Some do, but most don't. So they'd have more fresh food if you gave them a reason to have fresh food. Not just that, landlords were like, I want a supermarket in my building. Why? Because I get a benefit. Do that. Not just that, you could make bodegas part of the 311 situation here in New York City. You just check out online and see which ones are open and what they have. You can do that too. Most of them have some kind of a, system where they're doing what's that? Jesus Christ. Point of sale system. It's not a POS system. Let them do it by 311 if they want. Let them do that. That would help them out. If you have fresh food, Gristedes, he can deliver it up there because he's got that already. Well, a lot of 311 system work for people. They can order and show up and pick their stuff up. Let the government be a center of central repository for information. Why not? There are ways you could support this without having to build out stores. I just gave you 2-3 ideas right there based off what it's actually working right now in New York City. You just look at what's happening now and copy it. Again, what are the wealthy doing? Let the average person do what the wealthy are doing. This is a common theme throughout everything I talk about. Let the regular person get the same benefits the wealthy get versus trying to desperately hammer the wealthy, which never works because they're wealthy. But the problem is most people who are on the socialist side or the far left side assume that all wealthy people are evil and mean and want you all to die and don't want you to be rich. That's not true. Most of them are very selfish. That's true. But they only care about keeping their own. They don't care if you get yours. They don't care if you get rich. They don't care if you don't get rich. They don't care. They're apathetic. They don't want to help you. They don't care. So if other people get cool things, they go, oh, that's nice. Can I keep my cool things? Yes, you may. They go, great. Good. You have cool things too. As long as I can keep my cool things, you have cool things too. They don't care. They don't care enough to stop you. But the image is they're going to, I'm Mr. Burns and I want to destroy you. The wealthy just don't give a shit. You can be mad at that, not mad at that, whatever. That's true. So if we understand that, we can change things. I hope that makes sense at least. So, all right, that covered that piece if I could. By the way, before we keep going out, one thing I want to go, make sure you click the like button if you would. Click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. I've asked you, please do so. Share this, repost this someplace so people can see this. It does matter. And of course, if you can, LarrySharpe.com/donate. All good. But no matter what, click the button known as like. It does matter. All right.
Grocery prices increased by about 30% over the last few years.
He's not wrong. And this is my point. What he does well, he does express the issues. He does very well. Andrew says elections should be held on April 16th, the day after we pay our income taxes. That is one of the few things that might discourage politicians from being big spenders. Yeah, and we should have to write it, not withhold you to write that check. Yes, absolutely. Well, Jason, eventually most major infrastructure and media should be ownership by residency, including media. I'm not sure about media. I'm not sure about that, but I think infrastructure, yes. Yes. Rod says community cooperative hospital, even better. That's what I'm saying. I like that better. I agree. I like that better. Yes. Brona says, know why I really love the show? Because Larry's about community. This chat's the best community on the interwebs. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, see, Roger, I like infrastructure being owned by the community. I prefer that if at all possible. But private businesses, all we have to have is one of the biggest reasons why co-ops are not as popular. There are other reasons, but one of the biggest one is because financiers simply don't trust co-ops. And that's a cultural issue more than anything else. If we could see that co-ops could be as effective, if we could that co-ops could be as effective as privately run things, bankers would give. Again, remember, bankers also don't care. They don't hate co-ops or love co-ops. They love making money off their loans. And if they could see that co-ops would make as much money and they would believe it, and most of them just don't, and it's a philosophical issue. If they would understand that, they go, oh, okay, how do we do that? Roger and I have discussed this before. The idea of a public bank that will be made specifically, its goal would be to finance local businesses, to finance local co-ops. What would happen? That public bank would make money from those co-ops. Financiers would go, wait a minute. You made money on that? Yeah. Damn, we want a part of that? Boom. They'd want a part of that. And that might take several years before they start seeing it. It could, but we got to start somewhere. So we start as soon as we can. Financiers would see it, go, oh, damn, we can make money on that? Yeah. Again, financiers don't care. They would fund anything. They don't care. They fund wars all day long. They do not give a shit. As long as they can make money, they don't care. So show them, yeah, co-ops can make money too. They'll finance it.
Marcia, let's talk about this. Is there anything then that the city can do to actually help the bodegas?
Well, you know, the mayor says that they can cut red tape and ease regulations.
They can cut red tape and ease regulations, which they did not do at all with the school system, which I just showed you. Or with the hospitals, which I just showed you. Because you know what happened with the hospital, which I didn't even talk about with the hospital? The reason why it's in trouble is because it was funded by the government for $2.2 billion. And now they can't pay the shit back. That's why they're in trouble. So the government loaned the money so they could put them into debt so they could take over. I wish I was kidding. I wish I was kidding.
And he has said in the past that the city stores won't sell things you can get in a bodega, like beer, cigarettes, and lottery tickets.
So they won't sell beer, cigarettes. So they're going to turn the bodegas into beer, cigarettes, and lottery ticket stores. So you're going to make sure bodegas cannot become. He's going to make sure bodegas cannot become. I just said the opposite. I just gave you a plan to encourage bodegas to be able to service the communities with more fresh food. I just gave them an incentive to do so. He's like, no, just become cigarette joints.
But it's unclear if that's going to be enough. The store owners would like an opportunity to explain their case directly to the mayor before it's too late. They've tried and tried, and they have not been able to schedule.
Wait a minute. So Mamdani's not talking to small business owners? I thought he was supposed to be the little guy. Yeah. I hate to say it. Everything I said is happening. Sometimes I'm tired of being right, but it's happening yet again. It will take time. It's not going to affect this election, this cycle, not 2026, 2028, 2032. We'll see then. Robert House, poverty programs are not supposed to provide the systemic change that people want to see. No? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Literally, Robert, when LBJ came aboard, he called it the Great Society. That's what he called it. It was literally supposed to provide systemic change. Yes, it was. It just doesn't. But they are supposed to. There must be structural fixes and a commandment that America commit itself to justice politics. You're not wrong. I agree with you. And that's what I'm saying. Two sentences. First sentence, nope. They literally were. He called it a great society. It was supposed to do that. Second piece, though, you're right. We have to do that. And we have not. You're correct. So I disagree with the first one. I agree with the second one completely. So yes. All right. Let's see here. I covered that one. Okay, we covered that one. Roger says, Solo threw black people under the bus like Clarence. Not true at all. No, absolutely not true. I am happy to have you or Robert says that thing. Yes, Soul's logic makes sense. You pretend as if black Americans are not racialized. You are completely incorrect. Soul has done so many debates on this. Race issues, what he's been called. You guys are clearly incorrect. That's not even close to true. No. Soul actually loves black people. Unlike some people in that movement who do not. But he absolutely does love black people. He loves the black community. He watched it be destroyed when he tried to work for the Department of Labor. So you are incorrect. If any of you want to have that discussion, I'm happy to have. I will defend Thomas Sowell every day of the week. Every day of the week. He is one of the best libertarian minds this country's ever produced. And I cannot think of a better black libertarian. I can't think of a better one. There may be one out there, but I can't think of one. I cannot think of a better black libertarian than Thomas Sowell. I don't think that person exists. Maybe they do somewhere. I can't think of one. So no, not at all. If you look at anything Thomas Sowell says, in every case, he speaks about helping the black family, the black business owner, talks about ownership, talks about all those things. So yes, and he gives you facts and shows it. Yes. Mike says Reagan now. I knew I get. Sometimes I know I'm just gonna. I know sometimes I'm gonna get him. I know. Yeah, absolutely. I love you, Mike. You know I do. I think about you often when I go there. It's like, that'll get him. That'll nudge Mike. Right? That'll nudge him. Yes. Everything says I've literally seen DSA memos online dissing and trashing bodega owners. I thought the DSA was a little guy. No. Yes. No. Bodegas are capitalists, and that means they're bad. There we go. D says, bodegas are capitalist, though. So I can see why the DSA was. Yes, makes sense. 100%. Yes. Robert says, government can be effective when it wants to. Look, got America to a war, and the majority do not want. That's effective. Yeah, but it can't win the war. So I disagree. Government does, as I say, 4 things very well. 4 things it does very well, and only 4 things. And almost every single thing it does is one of those 4 things. 1, kill people. It's very good at killing people. If you ever say to yourself, you know what? I need millions killed. You do? Do you care who they are? Not really. Preferably minorities. Oh, okay. So you want lots of people killed? Yeah. Preferably minorities. Does it have to be preferably indiscriminate? Oh, so you'd like to have millions of people killed, preferably mostly minorities, and you'd like it indiscriminate? Yes. Government has got you covered. Government will take care of that. Lickety split. Got you down, covered. Second piece, imprison people. I would like to have millions of people in prison. Oh, okay. Does it be for a crime? Not really. Why? Well, because it should be people I don't like for whatever reason. Oh, so you would like millions of people put in jail because you're somehow mad and don't like them? Yes. Do you care if they're minorities? Preferably minorities, but anyone, but preferably minorities. I got you. Government will take care of that in a heartbeat. Knock that right out. Within a year, the prisons will be open, people will be in. Guaranteed. Third thing to do well. Create bureaucracy to slow things down. If you say to yourself, my business is just way too effective. That shit is working fast. I would love it to just like throw some money away, be ineffective, and maybe have some bloat that I could waste some money. Government goes, oh, great. So you don't want to be effective. Well, a little effective. Okay, so just effective, just enough so I can make some money, but the rest just totally like stuff to do nothing. Would you like some jobs that people have to show up but have no accountability whatsoever? Yeah, I want to get rid of accountability too. Oh, awesome. Government's like, got you. Get rid of accountability, get rid of it all. All good. Again, within a year, set up. Your business will be slowed down, no accountability, perfect. Last thing government as well, just write checks. I want to give people money to solve a problem. Oh, will the problem be solved? No. Oh, you just want to give money? Yeah. I want to feel like I'm solving something by giving people money. Oh, okay. Well, does the money have to have value? I don't care. So I can just like make it out of thin air. Sure, whatever you want. I just want to give people money so I can feel like I'm solving a problem and hopefully have them be indebted to me and they can be fooled into believing that they owe me. Oh, government got you covered. Checks going out in a week. Done deal. Those are the 4 things government does very well. So if you ever find yourself wanting any of those 4 things, there's nothing better than government in those 4 things. Other than that, it's not effective. Doesn't even bomb well. We bomb school children. That's the killing part. So indiscriminate, we got you. We got you. No problem. So yes. All righty. Okay. Robin says, Kim, I have a problem voting for a guy who was in a movie called Bedtime for Bonzo. That's actually funny. I like that. Robert says, everything that's going wrong in America is happening because America refuses to tell the truth about how it handicapped Black Americans. Thus, the national story America tells itself is skewed. I think that there's some basis in that. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. There's some basis in that. There's some. And let me cover why. There's some. Recently, though, there's 2 parts to this one. You gave me 2 parts again, Robert. Let me cover the second. Let me cover the second part first. There's been an overcorrection on the second part. And what I mean by that, which goes to the first part, you're right. America absolutely handicapped Black Americans after the Civil War. No question. Absolutely true. Demonstrably true. And you will find people go, that's not true. Absolute horseshit. Of course it did. It's absolutely true. Demonstrably true. I'll debate anybody on it. Of course he did. But there's been an overcorrection in story. Now what you find is everything America's done in school now is colonization, bad, terrible. And Black Americans are actually now used as the reason to be pushed aside. So every other minority group or protected class that wants to pop up does it off the back of Black Americans. So I agree with you in that regard 100%. Like we wouldn't have to work, like there should be no such thing as a hate crime. Hate crimes is only an overcorrection for lynching Black people. That's what it is, overcorrection for that. Now, if I call somebody a Muslim or a Jew, I'm a hate crime now all of a sudden. But it came from lynching Black people, which was a valid concern and issue. So we have an overcorrection that has actually overshot the Black community. That makes any sense. I see some of you will get that, right? We've overshot. You find the people who are in the fat acceptance movement say, "Oh, fat phobia is racism." I'm not making that up. That's a real thing. They've like completely overshot to do that. So they've corrected so much that we're doing land acknowledgements, right? So I think I'm agreeing, but there's a caveat there. What we should have done is dealt with that issue a whole lot earlier, and we wouldn't have the bullshit that we have now. But we are talking about what happened to Black Americans now in school. I have 2 kids in school. All we talk about. They don't know anything else. That's all they know is activism. They don't know shit else. I have to teach my kids more history because the schools only teach activism. I'm not making that up. If you have a kid in school now, you know that. The schools just teach activism. They don't teach actual history. So I think there's an overcorrection. But there's some truth to what you're saying. So, all right. Let's see here. I hear everything says, look up the New York City DSA, Gustavo Gordilla, a Nepo baby. There's so many of them. The Nepo babies are making the laws for the little guy. They read Marx and thought to themselves that they have all of life's solutions. True. Brona says, I heard Mamdani fill the pothole. He's my hero. It's true. He did fill the pothole. He's now mine. ABV, alcohol by volume. True. But I prefer always be a victim. I like that one. So, all righty. I think we'll cover that one. All righty. Phil says, Larry, isn't what the city doing what they accuse Senator All of doing? Lower prices to put them out of business and then raise prices. Yes. Literally true. Yes. Mike says it. It's expressly illegal for private business to do what I'm doing. Yes. Exactly the point. Yes. Absolutely. Phil says the best egg sandwich I ever had was from an immigrant-run gas station. Some of the egg sandwiches are delicious. I agree. Yes. I agree. That is true. So, all righty. Phil says, charisma, bring that Riz. You're not wrong. Christine in the house, people want a government-run free grocery store where the government picks the inventory. When RFK's union says SNAP shouldn't cover candy and soda, everyone loses their mind. SNAP is free food. True. Absolutely true. Yes. D says, Angie Nixon uses capitalism to spread her DSA agenda through her revolutionary socialist bookstore. But as Carlin says, they will use capitalism to help end capitalism. You're not wrong. Everything says DSA will just blame capitalism when the policies fails. Yes, that's my point. They will find a way to blame it. 100%. They will find a way. No doubt. I don't know how yet, but for sure. Yes. Scott said, looks like your U.S. SIM tattoo has gotten the top rubbed off by your t-shirt. Hold on. No, is it? No. It's just lighter. It's shaded. It's a light green to a dark green. See, it's a light green. You see that? Light green to a dark green. Yes. And I have a tan, so I'm lighter up here and darker down here because I have a shirt on. So yes. But thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. All righty. Roger says, Larry, what I'm seeing here is people who are of color having happened to them what previous mayors have done to Friedman, where they would look the other way on invitation of regs on them. But regs out of business, I have no sympathy. This goes back, what you and actually what you and Robert said is similar, right? The goal, this is the idea of, it's funny, my daughter was talking about the other day. My daughters don't like the people of color thing, right? They're like, people of color. So like they're biting off black people. Yeah. Goes back to the same thing. It's an overcorrection. So it's like, well, all people of color. So some South Asian family that came here wealthy, some Chinese family that came here wealthy is the same as somebody who's a descendant of slaves? Not really, no. But when it's POC, yeah, they are all the same. Because racism is racism. Yes. Yeah. So, all righty. Let's see here. I think I covered that one. Trying to cover these. Liz says, I need my own Larry Sharpe for Governor shirt. Are they offering a website? It will be a great way to start conversating with my friend. Yes, they are. Head on over to LarrySharpe.com and click shop right there. Pick them up if you like. 100%. Yes. Brona says, piercings and guns, count me in for support. Well, that is something. Brona says, Soul's genius. 100%. Yes. Soul versus Ruckus, the debate we truly need. Oh, I like that. It's not bad. I like that one. All right. We covered that. Here, city controller already admitted the negative effects of these policies won't hit till after Mamdani runs out. Yeah, that's my point. It's what I've been saying. I remember when we were first talking about it, a lot of people were mad at me. Larry, these aren't going to work. He's going to be screwed. Everyone's getting, and the Republicans in my state still think, yeah, we're going to win because we got Mamdani. I'm like, no one's going to see these policies, the effect of them for years. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So anyway. All righty. Hold on. Robert says poverty programs a little more than Band-Aids on bullet wounds. Oh, I agree. But you said what they were supposed to do. You and I agree on the outcome. 100% true. I agree on the outcome completely. But they were supposed to be the Great Society. This didn't work. So Phil says Thomas Sowell can even provide a framework for black separatism. He talks about Jews, Chinese in Malaysia and America, Germans in Russia, about how culture can overcome oppression. Yes, absolutely. 100%. So, all right. Robert says, what's love to do with it? Loving black people has nothing to do with the way he diagnoses the cause for black poverty. No. No. See, you're missing it. You are worried about the virtue signaling of it. What Thomas Sowell says the same thing that Malcolm X said. I guess you hate Malcolm X too? They have a similar mindset. Malcolm X was libertarian. You can think he wasn't. He was. He wasn't talking. He wasn't saying black people are poor because it's all their fault. What he was saying is, regardless of fault, it's our responsibility now. That's what he was saying. And there's a big difference between fault and responsibility. And I bring this up often when it comes to children, raising children, or fixing relationships, whatever the case may be. If you had really bad parents that messed you up, and some people have had really bad parents, terrible things they did to them, harmed them in some way, shape, or form. When you're 16, 17, 15, whatever you are, I get it. I get it. Blame your parents. At one point, regardless of how bad your parents are, it's your responsibility to fix yourself. But my parents were bad and they treated me poorly and they abused me. I get it. Not your fault. Not your fault. Your responsibility to fix it. You got screwed. I get it. And that sucks. And your responsibility. And your responsibility. Now, bootstraps. I'm not saying bootstraps. And Thomas Sowell, remember, started this shit in the 70s. He started this in the 70s before all these policies, before the war on drugs destroyed the black family. That's when he started it. He was talking about it before the government stepped in because he saw how bad it was. He saw that the bullet, abandoning a bullet, which you're talking about, was what the government had to offer us, and he knew that was going to hurt us worse. And he was right. What he was saying was, it is the black family's responsibility to fix itself, even though it was screwed over by a system that it didn't create, which is accurate. That's accurate. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because that doesn't feel good. And they're not wrong. It feels shitty. You're right. If I had terrible parents who treated me horribly, it's shitty and it's unfair and bad and my responsibility. All those things are true. Yes. So, yeah. All righty. Hold on. Already been vaped. Lottery gave USMC shade. Ooh, nice. I like that. I like that. Yep. All righty. Let's see here. Oh, I can't wait for the AMA. 2A is my jam. Okay, yeah, that's coming up soon. I got a 2A one coming up here. 2A is Tuesday. 2A is Tuesday. That's right. Tomorrow. I got a second amendment guide tomorrow. That should be a good one. I think you guys will enjoy that one. Mike says the stores will fail in a year from opening at most. Again, I want to be clear on that definition. Fail meaning they'll be in financial trouble. True, but they will not actually close. The state will just throw money at them. But yes, they will be in financial trouble within a year, and it'll be obvious, but they will not close for at least another year or two. They'll just throw money at it. Remember, government does that. Just throw money. Just credit it. So yes. So, all righty. I think we covered that one. Ronald says Malcolm was an anarchist. I think he's libertarian. I'm going to take him because I want him. Mike wants him too. Mike's is conservative. You guys both want him. No, I got him. He's libertarian. You cannot have him. You cannot have Malcolm X. You guys, you anarchists want him and you conservatives want him. No, I have him. He's mine. Roger says, do not believe when liberal white left says we have discriminated against white on behalf of black because on the other end, what we say, really? How about them reparations end to illegal immigration? And oh, I see. Economic dependency. Yeah. I get where you're going with this. Yeah. No, I'm with you. Right? That's what Malcolm X said. Malcolm X was like the biggest enemy of the black Americans is white liberals. That was Malcolm X said that, not me. I mean, he's right. But Malcolm X said that. I completely agree. Yes. So, all right. It's still your trauma. That's what it is. It doesn't matter who gave you the trauma. It belongs to you. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yep. Robert says, there's no other group, including recent black immigrants, that have every institution required to build and sustain community targeted by government. Look, I've done an entire show on this. I mean, if you guys want to see it, I'm not arguing with you on this, Robert. I did 2 separate shows on this. If you care about it, because Ben Shapiro, he's full of shit. He's the guy who says there's no such thing as institutional racism. And I literally broke down his argument. If you care, put in Larry Sharpe, Ben Shapiro. I did it years ago. Just put it on YouTube. You see it. I broke him down. He's wrong. Of course there is. Of course it exists. It doesn't change the fact that it's our responsibility. To Nosey's point, we still own it. We can not like it. We can love it. We still own it. We have to fix it. It is what it is. I can be mad all day. I can say it's wrong all day. I got to fix it. You too. Roger too. Roger got ideas to fix it. I got ideas to fix it. Let's fix it. It's our responsibility. We have to fix it. You're not wrong. And I did my Juneteenth show of 2019 I forgot when it was. I went through the whole racist piece you talk about. I went from 1620. That's where I began. I went 1620, Bacon's Rebellion. I'm not joking, all the way till today. So if you think I'm against it, you haven't watched those shows. I went through it. I tore Ben Shapiro apart, argument by argument. And I've already done a reparations show, the whole idea. I did it already. So I'm not saying you're wrong. We still own it, dude. Bernard says, I agree, Malcolm was conservative, but he highly encouraged people to stop asking government to solve their problems. Yes, libertarian. So I get to keep him. Sorry. I get to keep him. Yes. Mike says, nothing they will close in the year. I don't think so. I think they will throw money at it, Mike. We'll see. But I think they will throw money at it. I think they'll be in trouble, but they just throw money. They'll just write more checks. And again, they'll blame capitalism. They'll blame Trump. Whatever. They'll find a way to blame Trump. I don't know how. It'll be Trump should have, but he didn't do the thing. Whatever. So yeah, they'll find a way. They'll find a way. All right. Liz says, Larry just copyrighted Malcolm X. I did. He's mine. Sorry. Robert says, it's Black Americans wants to do what? Black Americans not fix white racism. And the fix that they need requires political answer. We're sort of screws. I disagree with both of those things. Both. White racism is not the number one thing that is keeping black people down at all. I'm very clear. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. But the vast majority of individual Americans are not racist. There are some who are. It exists. But the vast majority of Americans just don't care. That is the whole reason to create the anti-racism type system that is stupid. You're not required to love people who are different than you. In America, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be. Sadly, now you are, which is why we're all fighting. You're supposed to just tolerate them. That's it. I tolerate them. I don't have to like you. I just tolerate you. You're supposed to not harm them. What harms most black people isn't white racism. And what has harmed black people is not white racism. What has harmed black people in the past has been systemic racism. There's a difference. In other words, and the example I give all the time, which is the most common one, but it still works perfectly, is the idea of throwing 100,000 cops into black neighborhoods in the 90s, Joe Biden's crime bill, right? Calling them super predators, right? All that shit. If you throw 100,000 more cops into black neighborhoods and not into white neighborhoods, you are going to have more black people going to jail. That's systemic racism. Whether those cops are more or less racist than any other person on the planet is irrelevant. You just put 100,000 extra interactions into the neighborhood, and you gave them quotas to fill because you have to fund those cops after the 2 years when the federal government stopped funding them, which means now I have to go through and validate expenditures now. So you gave those cops more of an incentive to arrest, so I can keep funding. That's systemic racism. The system gave everyone incentives to arrest young black people. So they did. Whether the cop was racist or not, whether the white person sitting in Pasadena was racist or not, is irrelevant. White racism is not what has harmed black people. Systemic racism has. And that's the example of it. It's the obvious example. You can say it's not, but it's absolutely true. Whether the average white person likes or hates black people isn't the reason why the system doesn't work. Right? So I hope that makes sense at least. So Soul is correct. White racism isn't the answer. Systemic is. We have to fix it. So I agree. One of the ways you fix it is by gaining power, political power. You're not wrong. So let's gain it. How do you gain political power? By complaining? No. By trying to run for office. Yes. So, yeah. Phil says, Larry, you need Malcolm X glasses. I'm not Malcolm X. I'm not Larry X. I'm not. Now, I could be, though. For those who don't know why Malcolm X is Malcolm X, Malcolm X wasn't actually Malcolm X. Malcolm X was Malcolm Little. Little was his last name. What Malcolm said was, my name actually isn't Little. Now, some people took it up to a way and tried to find an African name. That was a common thing in the 60s. You find some of that now, but it was very common in the 60s, like Muhammad Ali, right? His name was Cassius Clay. He took Muhammad Ali. But Malcolm wouldn't do that. What Malcolm did is he said, my name is Malcolm because my mother named me Malcolm. And therefore, that is my name. I respect my mother. She's named Malcolm. That's my name. But Little is the name of the people who owned me. Therefore, that's not really my name. I will never know my name because my culture has been destroyed and taken away from me by slavers. So I'll never know my name. It is unknown and it will always be unknown. And what is the symbol for unknown? X. This is why he is Malcolm X. So could I become Larry X? I could. My mom named me Larry. So that is my name. Sharpe, though, is my slave name. That's true. So I could become Larry X. I could. So yes, for those who don't know, that is why. Some of you I'm sure didn't know that, but yes. All right, Rick Pa says, when they speak of whiteness, it's a stand-in for American culture, was also covered. Also true, but I don't think that's what Roger believes. I don't think I'm not Roger. I don't think Robert's talking about that. But yes, many people do. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's what he was talking about. So, yes. All right, hold on. Oh, did he just, of course he did. Hold on. Of course he did. Hold on. Of course, Phil sent a meme because it's Phil. And there is Larry X. There we go. That's Larry X. Enjoy. Oh, there we go. All right. All righty. Roger says, always remember GOP never wanted to give MLK a holiday because they saw him as a communist being anti-Vietnam War. Now the right claims him. It's a valid point. You're not wrong. You're right. Yep. Roger goes on to say, most black people are not worried about interpersonal racism. We're talking about a system that runs on autopilot against us. Accurate statement. That's what I mean. Yes. Roger, you and I agree. I agree. Yeah, I completely agree. Yes. I don't see that at all. Yeah. I don't understand it at all. Phil says, this systemic racism eviction needs clipping. Because that's what it is. That's when people say there's no systemic racism, it's bullshit. There is. I can prove it. I can show it 1,000 times. It exists. And the whole point is you find people on the right usually was like, there's no such thing, it's over, or whatever, which is horseshit. People on the left go, oh, it's still slavery, or whatever. Also horseshit. It's better. Oh, they go, oh, America's racist. America's not racist. Some of the systems still are, but Americans aren't. It's a fact. Americans are not. We have more interracial marriage to include black and white. We have more interracial children. We have more people getting together. We're not. It's not a thing. And don't forget, the majority of Americans who voted for Obama twice and Hillary. Hillary won the popular vote. Even though Trump won the election, Hillary won the popular vote. It's just not a thing. That's a story people say because they're mad. Yes, and it's just not true. All right. Robert says, solutions Black Americans need cannot be found in the private sector because Black Americans have no capital. Okay. Black Americans as a whole have very little capital. That's true. But there are Black Americans who have lots of capital who often won't make the proper step anymore. And some of those are freedmen. Some of them are immigrants, but some of those are freedmen, and they won't make the step either. So yes, could you make a shift? Yeah, you could. But you'd also have to make a cultural shift. And this is Thomas Sowell's point, which people don't want to understand. If you were to write a check to Black Americans today, right now, big check, whatever the number is, pick a number. The vast majority would actually be worse off within 5 years. How do I know that? Because it doesn't matter if you're Black or not. Most people who win the lottery are worse off 5 years later. About, I think like 20 to 30% are actually bankrupt in like 10 years, something like that. It's not more than 30%. More than 30% are worse off financially. So you would be harming the Black community if you were to make checks right now without changing the culture. Culture is the number one piece. If you change the culture, a check would work. You don't change the culture, it won't work. It just fails. It makes things worse. I'm not making this up. That's just data. So it's just data. So yes. All right. Roger says it is El Haj Malik El Shabazz. Yes, his last name is, well, the last name of his family is Shabazz. That's correct. Last name of his family is Shabazz. They took on that name. They didn't take on X. True. It was very common. If you, Nation of Islam, most Nation of Islam people did take on a Muslim name or an African name. Most did. So yes. Robert says, I would say that vast majority of Americans are racist, maybe not maliciously so, but based on the story America told us about race and racism. I completely disagree. If you look at if you talk to most people in America, remember, more people lean left in America than lean right. I'm not saying they're socialists. I'm saying leanings. That's a fact. You can think I'm not. Any poll will tell you more Americans lean left right now than lean right. More Americans are registered in the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. More Americans believe socialism is better than ever. So Americans lean left now more than lean right. This country, most of its life has been a center-right country. Right now, it's a center-left country. Now, that may go back again, but that's where it is currently. Again, most people are not far left, but they lean more Americans now lean left, and it's heavily because of women. Most women, huge majorities of women lean left compared to leaning right. But it's absolutely true. And most of those people, if you would say racist, meaning, and here, the question is, how do you mean racist? If you mean racist as in, I dislike a race, you are wrong. If you would say racist in that I have created stereotypes that I believe in and I put people in a box because of that, you'd be correct. That's true. And most of that is done in a way where they think is helping. They're not helping. So if your racist example is, I don't like people because of their race, if that is your definition, you're wrong. It's absolutely not true. Most Americans are not that. So they still exist. There are people. I want to make sure I'm not going to get the old people to get me. Of course, there's still members of the KKK. There's still Nazis. There are people who are terrible. Of course. But the average American just doesn't care. But if you would say the average American puts people in a box that may not be mad or angry, I think it's true. But I think that's not just Americans. I think that's most humans. I think that's most humans. So that's just what I think. So, all right. I think we covered that piece. Roberts, I honestly don't even think America knows how to talk about race contemporarily because of people frame. I agree. This is why I talk about it here. This is why I talk about it here. I don't have a problem talking about it. I'm happy. People love when I talk about race. I don't mind. I talk about race here. I don't talk about it in a negative way. I talk about it in a realistic way. And I take responsibility. We have to fix it. That's it. So, yeah. All righty. Mastermind got jokes. I had my I'm with her tattoo re-inked to say I'm with the disease that rhymes with herpes. So it's far less embarrassing. Yeah, it's true. Mike says, no, Black Americans spend poorly. It's not a lack of fun, like a priority, discipline, and financial education. Utterly not true, Mike. Demonstrably false. Demonstrably false. There's a class issue when it comes to spending. That's true. It's not a race issue when it comes to spending. It's not true. Black people, without question, particularly those, make sure, Black Americans, meaning descendants of slaves, freedmen, it's the data is there. They have less capital. They have less assets. It's absolutely true, demonstrably true, clearly true. That's not accurate. Your issues of spending are often class issues, which cross racial barriers. So that covered that one. Yeah, Scott says, Pew Research did a survey in 2014 and blacks rated themselves as most racist. I think that was the last time we looked at the poll. Yeah, black people can be racist too. But the issue is most people who are in that world, they've changed the name of the definition of racist. They changed the name, the definition. They've made the definition, you can only be racist if you are in a position of power or authority. If there's a power dynamic. That's a bullshit thing they made up, but that's what they make up now, Scott. They now make that up. They now say, well, no, it's not racist if you don't have a power dynamic. Utter bullshit. Absolutely not true. But that's what they will tell you, just so you're aware. That is to deal with Bronner. That's the argument. It's a bullshit argument, but it is an argument. So yes. Mike says, also, America is center-right with sporadic interest in social issues, mostly about the youth, which makes them center-left right now. Right now, the country is center-left. It wasn't. That's a new phenomenon, but it is true. So yeah, right now they are. You can just check your homework. You can probably chat GPT it right now. You can look at it. So Braun says everybody loves democracy until they're part of 49%. Yeah, that's what I say. Socialism is awesome when you're on the right side of the gun. I say it all the time. If I'm on the right side of the gun, socialism is amazing. Soviet style, awesome when you're in right side of the gun. That's awesome. All right. So it's not a culture thing to change, but a mindset change. I think they're similar. Mindsets often change because of people around you. So I think it's both. I would agree with both of those things. I think it can be both. Yeah. Yeah. John says, there are a few racists left, but very few you will never let them know. Agreed. I'm with you, John. There's always going to be racists. There's going to be bigots, right? Always. They're going to exist. They're always going to exist. But they aren't, there are nowhere near as many as people would say. Not even close. Not even close. So yeah. Brona says, I don't think America is center right or center left. It's completely divided by design. Either far left or right. Yeah. Well, the loudest ones are online far left, far right. And you know what I said? Leans. I don't think America's heavily center right or center left. I think it used to lean center right. Now I think it leans center left. And I think that is a recent phenomenon. And I think you see it in many things happening in culture today. America now, I think, is leaning center left. That's where it leans. Again, it's not by a lot. It's not like 60-40. I wouldn't say that. So yeah. I think you would have to, yeah, I think it's leaning. I don't think it's obvious, if that makes any sense. So guys, I want to say thank you so much for paying attention. Thank you so much. If you could donate, please donate if you can. No matter what, click that like button. It does matter. And please also share this. Repost this someplace. Let other people see it. If you like those pieces, chop those pieces up and show them. It's a good thing if you would. I would love for people to see it if that's possible. So you can see what I'm trying to achieve. It will be helpful. And of course, if you would comment after the live. And I'm going to ask you, of the three things that Mamdani talked about here recently, I talked about today with Mamdani, how's schools, stores, and healthcare. Schools, so education, economy, healthcare. What's the most important thing that we should work on? Education, healthcare, economy. What's the number one thing? And note, by the way, the socialists talking about all three. DSA is talking about all three. Republicans aren't. I'll be on Sharpe Way Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Second Amendment night tomorrow. Forgot I'm doing Wednesday night. Something. Oh, yeah. End of the Trump era, Wednesday night. And then Thursday, AMA. I will see you all very soon.